Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
You guys sent in some fascinating material on the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
Specifically, some excerpts from a journal called The Third Decade,
Okay.
which I got to say is just a gold mine for JFK assassination research.
Yeah.
This deep dive is going to take us back to the 1970s
Okay.
and really get into the nitty-gritty of how one researcher tried to uncover the truth behind Kennedy's death.
What's so interesting about these articles
Yeah.
is that we're not just revisiting the assassination itself,
Right.
but the whole political and investigative climate of that time.
Absolutely.
We're going to see how one person
Yeah.
really tried to navigate a system that seemed very reluctant to re-examine these high-profile assassinations.
And not just JFK.
Right.
We're also talking RFK, MLK,
Exactly.
and even the attempted assassination of George Wallace.
Yeah, it's fascinating how all these cases kind of converged.
Yeah, it feels like we're stepping into like a real-life political thriller
Yeah.
with all these twists and turns.
Absolutely.
So to kick things off, we'll be diving into two articles from this journal, The Third Decade.
Okay.
The first one is called The HSCA's Birth, An Outsider's View
Okay.
by Edgar F. Tatro.
Got it.
And the second is Sebastian Latona, Where Are You When We Need You
Mhm.
by Jerry O. Rose.
All right. Sounds good.
Now, Edgar F. Tatro,
Yeah.
the author of our first article,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't some big shot politician or journalist or anything like that.
Yeah.
He was an independent researcher,
Okay.
completely driven by this desire to find the truth about what happened to JFK.
It's always fascinating to see how these individuals outside the system
Yeah.
end up playing such a pivotal role in pushing for truth and justice.
Yeah, and Tatro,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't afraid to rattle some cages.
Oh, yeah.
Starting in 1974,
Okay.
he launched this massive letter-writing campaign to congressmen,
Wow.
urging them to form a select committee to reopen investigations into these assassinations.
That's a bold move.
Oh, yeah, he was going all in.
Yeah.
But what I find really interesting about his early letters
Huh.
is this like blend of persistence
Okay.
and caution.
Interesting.
Like he was determined to get to the bottom of things,
Mm-hmm.
but he also seemed aware of the potential dangers of uncovering
Yeah.
what might be a massive cover-up.
There's almost this sense of him knowing more than he's letting on.
Right, like he's walking this tightrope between exposing the truth
Mm-hmm.
and protecting himself.
Yeah. It's like he's saying, look, this goes deeper than you think. Be careful.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets even more intense when you see that Tatro sent Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez
Yeah.
a manuscript titled Nomenclature of an Assassination Cabal.
Now that's a title that's going to raise some eyebrows.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Talk about adding fuel to the conspiracy theories fire.
Right, it's like he was throwing down the gauntlet saying, here's what I found, are you going to ignore it?
So what was in this manuscript?
Well, from what I gathered,
Yeah.
it doesn't exactly offer like concrete proof of a conspiracy, but it definitely laid out this really compelling case for the possibility of this powerful group orchestrating all these assassinations,
Okay.
which obviously resonated with a lot of people.
Especially those who already had doubts about the lone gunman theory.
Exactly.
So how did Gonzalez react to this?
Well, Gonzalez was actually pretty sympathetic to Tatro's cause,
Okay.
but not everyone was on board.
Of course not.
Tatro hit a wall when he tried to contact his own congressman,
Who was that?
James A. Burke.
James A. Burke. Okay.
And Burke basically brushed him off.
Really?
Yeah, just referred him to the Department of Justice.
Wow.
And they basically shut it down, saying there was no basis for a new inquiry.
So basically, nothing to see here, move along.
Pretty much.
It's interesting how they used the same argument that had been used to block previous inquiries.
What was that?
They basically said the critics of the Warren Commission didn't have any significant new evidence.
But wasn't the whole point that the existing evidence was already questionable?
Exactly. Tatro and others were arguing that the Warren Report's conclusions were already flawed based on the evidence they had.
It sounds like a classic case of who are you going to believe?
Right.
The authorities or your own eyes?
And it really raises the question of who gets to decide what qualifies as significant new evidence.
Yeah, and how can someone like Tatro, who's an outsider,
Right.
challenge the official narrative
Right.
when the institutions responsible for investigating are the ones being questioned?
It's like a catch-22.
It really is. It's like a David and Goliath situation.
Yeah.
But you know what? Tatro,
Yeah.
he didn't back down.
Good for him.
He reached out to other congressmen in Massachusetts,
Oh, okay.
and he got this whole mixed bag of responses.
Like what?
Some were supportive,
Okay.
some were vague and kind of evasive,
Yeah.
and some were just straight up dismissive.
So he was getting the runaround.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did anything come of this?
Well, there's this one anecdote about Congressman Michael Harrington that I found really telling.
What happened?
Harrington basically told Tatro that a quiet reinvestigation was already happening in Texas.
Oh, wow. So there was something going on behind the scenes.
Wow, that's what Tatro thought at the time. But later on, Congressman Gonzalez confirmed that it wasn't true at all.
Oh, so Harrington was either misinformed or deliberately misleading Tatro.
It's hard to say for sure, but it really highlights the confusion and the potential for misinformation that surrounded this whole case.
So you have Tatro, this determined researcher, trying to get to the bottom of things, but he keeps running into these roadblocks and dead ends.
Exactly. It's like he's navigating this maze of conflicting information and impossible cover-ups.
It sounds like something out of a spy novel.
It really does. But the crazy thing is, despite all these obstacles, Tatro's campaign actually gained some traction.
How so?
He urged people to write to their congressman, and it created enough public pressure that it actually led to the creation of the House Select Committee on Assassinations.
The HSCA.
The HSCA. So the little guy, the outsider, he actually made a difference.
Talk about the power of persistence.
Right. It shows that even when you're going up against these powerful forces, a belief in the truth can sometimes win out.
Absolutely.
It's pretty inspiring.
It is.
But the story takes an even more intriguing turn. When we look at the second article from the third decade.
Sebastian Latona, where are you when we need you?
That's the one. By Jerry O. Rose.
Right.
And this article really dives into some specific details that directly challenge the official narrative about Lee Harvey Oswald and the evidence against him.
This is where it gets really interesting.
It does.
Let's talk about it.
So Rose's article focuses on Oswald's fingerprints.
Fingerprints?
Yeah, well, actually multiple sets of them.
Wait a minute. Multiple sets?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
That's the million-dollar question.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And it raises some serious questions about how the evidence was handled.
Okay, lay it on me.
So the heart of the matter is this fingerprint card. Dated November 25th, 1963.
2 days after Oswald's death.
Exactly.
Wow, okay.
Now, the FBI's explanation for these prints is that they were taken from Oswald's corpse to formally advise of his death.
Formally advised.
Formally advised.
That sounds strange.
It does, right? Like, why would you need to formally advise anyone about someone who's already dead?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
And Rose points out in the article that this goes against standard fingerprinting procedures for deceased individuals.
So if these prints weren't from Oswald's body, then whose were they?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And why would they label them as Oswald's?
Right. Like, what's the point of that?
This is getting more and more suspicious.
It is, and Rose explores this possibility. That these fingerprints actually belong to someone impersonating Oswald.
Impersonating Oswald.
Impersonating Oswald.
Wow.
Potentially someone involved in setting him up for the assassination.
So we're talking about a conspiracy within a conspiracy here.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, and each layer reveals something even crazier.
This is wild.
And this fingerprint card, it's not the only piece of questionable evidence.
Really?
Rose also points to a thumbprint on Oswald's arrest report.
That's
mysteriously missing from the Warren Commission's copy.
Hold on, a missing fingerprint from a key piece of evidence.
Yeah.
That's a huge red flag.
It is.
It makes you question the integrity of the whole investigation.
Exactly. And then there's this other thumbprint found in an issue of American Rifleman magazine.
American Rifleman?
American Rifleman.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, Oswald supposedly handled this magazine months before his death. And his thumbprint was still there.
Months later.
Months later.
But wouldn't a fingerprint fade away after that long?
You'd think so, right?
Oh.
Experts say most fingerprints left casually on objects, what they call latent fingerprints, don't last very long.
So how could Oswald's print still be there months later?
That's what Rose is asking.
This whole fingerprint thing is a mess.
It is. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the evidence in this case.
It seems like every detail we uncover just raises more questions.
It does. It's like we're going down this rabbit hole, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
This is incredible.
And we're just getting started.
I can't wait to hear what else you've uncovered.
We're just getting warmed up.
So these fingerprint discrepancies really raise the stakes here.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if evidence was manipulated, it really suggests there was a deliberate effort to frame Oswald and potentially conceal a much larger conspiracy.
It makes you wonder what else might have been tampered with.
Exactly.
Or hidden from public view.
Yeah. And speaking of potential cover-ups, Rose dives into another bombshell in his article, Agent 179, The Making of a Dirty Rumor.
Agent 179. So.
This one centered on the shocking claim that surfaced in 1964 that Lee Harvey Oswald was an undercover FBI informant.
Wow. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
An FBI informant.
An FBI informant.
That's a pretty big claim.
It is.
And what's even crazier is that this claim originated from the Dallas County Sheriff's Office.
Right, which adds another layer of intrigue to the whole situation.
It does, because they were the ones who alleged Oswald had the informant ID number 179.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, why would the Dallas Sheriff's Office, who are supposed to be working with the FBI, spread a rumor that implicates them?
It does seem counterproductive.
It does.
But Rose suggests that the Dallas police might have had their own motives for trying to tie Oswald to the FBI.
Like what?
Well, it could have been a way to shift blame or obstruct the investigation or even protect themselves if they were involved in some way.
So they were trying to cover their own tracks.
Potentially.
That's wild.
Especially when you remember the immense pressure law enforcement was under at that time.
Right.
I mean, this was a huge case.
A massive case.
And they were under intense scrutiny.
Yeah, so it sounds like everyone was scrambling to protect themselves, and the truth kind of got lost in the shuffle.
It's a possibility.
But aside from this Agent 179 rumor, what evidence did the Dallas police actually have?
Well, Rose highlights another incident that raises some serious red flags.
Okay, tell me more.
A Dallas police officer claimed to have overheard an FBI agent discussing Oswald's communist ties.
Communist ties, okay.
Just hours before the assassination.
That's pretty incriminating.
It is.
But is there any proof this conversation actually happened?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
The details of this encounter are really murky.
Okay.
And we know how unreliable eyewitness accounts can be.
Especially in a case this chaotic. So it's another piece of the puzzle that adds more questions than answers.
Yeah, it is.
It's like we're constantly hitting these dead ends or going in circles.
It can be frustrating.
It is. And then there's the whole issue of FBI agent James Hostie's contact information being found in Oswald's notebook.
Right. Hostie's the agent who destroyed Oswald's note to the FBI.
The one that might have revealed a connection between them before the assassination.
Yeah.
So what about this notebook?
Well, the way Hostie's information was found is also suspicious.
How so?
The Dallas police held onto this notebook for several days.
Several days.
Several days before turning it over to the FBI.
Why the delay?
It's a good question.
What were they doing with that notebook?
It definitely deepens the suspicion surrounding this whole thing.
It does. To try to explain this pattern of behavior, Rose proposes this really bold theory.
What's that?
He believes the Dallas police might have been blackmailing the FBI.
Blackmailing the FBI?
Blackmailing the FBI.
Seriously? But what could they possibly have on the FBI?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, there's the FBI.
Right.
But Rose suggests that the Dallas police might have known about this deeper connection between Oswald and the FBI.
Okay.
A connection the FBI desperately wanted to keep quiet.
So the Dallas police were holding this over their heads?
That's the theory.
Like saying, stay out of our business or we'll spill the beans.
It's almost like this power struggle between these two law enforcement agencies, each with their own agenda.
And that agenda might have involved covering up their own potential involvement in the assassination.
Yeah, if the Dallas police had something to hide, framing Oswald as a lone gunman with a weak link to the FBI would have been a pretty convenient way to divert attention.
It's a terrifying thought.
It is. It means the people tasked with investigating the assassination might have been manipulating the evidence
to protect themselves?
To protect themselves.
And this manipulation might have extended to the FBI as well.
How so?
Well, Hostie destroying Oswald's note under orders from his superior.
Right.
Gordon Shanklin shows just how far the Bureau was willing to go to conceal their pre-assassination contact with Oswald.
But why destroy the note? Wouldn't it have been easier to just deny any connection to Oswald?
Maybe, but the fact that they destroyed it suggests a deeper fear.
Okay.
They might have been worried that the note revealed something far more incriminating
than just a disgruntled ex-Marine's visit to the FBI.
Exact.
So a cover-up on top of a cover-up?
It seems that way.
It's like we're in this hall of mirrors trying to find our way out.
It's a labyrinth of deception.
And the deeper we go, the more we realize that Oswald's role in all of this might be much more complex than we initially thought.
Right. Rose proposes this scenario where Oswald, as an informant, might have stumbled upon a plan to make him the fall guy for the assassination.
So he's not just an informant, but a potential target.
It's a dangerous situation to be in.
Incredibly dangerous.
Rose suggests that Oswald's actions leading up to the assassination could be interpreted as attempts to leave evidence of his FBI ties.
Like what?
Well, his visit to the FBI office, the package he might have sent himself.
So he was trying to leave a trail of breadcrumbs.
It's possible.
Knowing that something terrible was about to happen.
It's a compelling theory.
It is.
That adds a whole new layer to Oswald's story.
Yeah, it makes you think, what if Oswald had survived the shooting?
Right.
Would he have revealed what he knew?
And if he did, would anyone have believed him?
It's hard to say.
It is.
But the fact that these questions still linger speaks volumes about the doubts and uncertainties surrounding this case.
This case is full of what-ifs and maybes.
It really is. It's like we're trying to solve a puzzle.
Yeah.
Where half the pieces are missing.
And the pieces we do have don't seem to fit together.
It's maddening. But it's also why we keep digging.
Exactly. The search for truth is never easy.
Okay, so to recap, we've talked about Tatro's campaign for a reinvestigation, the anomalies in Oswald's fingerprints, the Agent 179 rumor, and the possibility of the Dallas police blackmailing the FBI.
It's mind-boggling.
It is. And we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
These journals are packed with information.
I bet.
And every detail just reveals another layer of complexity.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion and it just keeps going.
It really does.
Yeah.
But even with what we have so far, it's clear that the official story of the JFK assassination is far from complete.
There are still so many unanswered questions.
So many. And it's important to remember that we, the public, have a right to know the truth.
Absolutely.
No matter how unsettling it may be.
The truth needs to come out.
It does. So let's keep digging.
Let's do it.
We've been going deep on this JFK stuff.
We have.
The fingerprint stuff.
Yeah.
The Agent 179 thing. Dallas police. Maybe blackmailing the FBI.
That's a lot.
It really is.
Makes you think.
And then when you look at Oswald's actions before the assassination. It gets even weirder.
What do you mean?
Well, Rose's article brings up some incidents that seem even more suspicious. If you think about Oswald as a potential informant.
Like he was trying to cover his tracks or something, maybe? What kind of incident?
His arrest in New Orleans in '63.
Oh, yeah, the one where he got in that fight with the Cuban exile?
Exactly.
Handing out pro-Castro leaflets?
The whole thing.
What about it?
He asked to speak to an FBI agent.
When he got arrested?
Yeah.
Wouldn't most people ask for a lawyer?
You'd think, right?
That's strange.
And he didn't just ask for an agent. He volunteered a ton of information.
You're like what?
About his personal life.
Okay.
His involvement with the Fair Play for Cuba Committee.
Was he trying to make a deal?
Yeah, babe.
Get out of trouble?
Possibly.
Or what if he was trying to establish an alibi?
An alibi? Yeah. Like he knew he might be accused of something bigger later.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like planting seeds of doubt.
Building a narrative.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And there's another weird thing.
What's that?
The FBI agent who interviewed him, John Quigley, he'd already seen Oswald's file before.
Hold on. The FBI had a file on Oswald before the assassination.
During the whole defection to the Soviet Union thing.
So they knew about him.
They did?
Why wasn't that more widely known?
Good question.
It's like they were trying to distance themselves.
Yeah.
But they also had a file on him.
Maybe the blackmail thing comes into play here.
You think so?
Could be.
What dirt could the Dallas police possibly have had?
Well, there's a few incidents Rose talks about.
Okay.
One involves a clerk in the New Orleans FBI office.
Okay.
William Walter.
What about him?
He claimed he saw a file that identified Oswald as an undercover agent.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
An undercover agent?
That's what he said.
Is there any proof?
Not really.
So, just his word?
Pretty much.
That's a tough one.
It is.
Interesting, but not enough to go on.
But it's not the only time someone said something like that.
Really?
Yeah, there were two other people in New Orleans who claimed they saw evidence of an Oswald FBI connection.
So multiple people saying the same thing.
Independently.
It can't all be coincidence, right?
It makes you wonder.
It really does.
Brings us back to Husty destroying that note.
Right.
If they had nothing to hide, why do that?
Makes them look guilty.
Exactly.
Even if they weren't.
And don't forget, Husty's superior ordered it.
Gordon Shanklin.
Yeah.
So it came from higher up.
It did.
What were they so afraid of?
Was it just embarrassment?
Or something worse?
It was.
We may never know.
Not without all the evidence.
Including what they might have hidden.
Exactly.
Frustrating.
It is.
But he keeps us searching.
Yeah.
Can't just accept the official story.
Got to keep digging.
Asking questions.
Absolutely.
This has been wild.
It has.
Fingerprints.
Yeah.
Agent 179. Blackmail.
Theories everywhere.
It challenges everything we thought we knew about JFK.
The official story
is definitely not the whole story.
So many unanswered questions.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
With missing pieces.
And pieces that don't seem to fit.
But that's what makes it so fascinating.
Keeps us coming back for more.
Keep searching.
Yeah.
Keep questioning.
Never settle for easy answers.
That's the heart of the deep dive.
Uncovering the truth.
No matter how complex.
Or how unsettling.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.